would you go into the sharpening and open the file, Tony Kuyper Sharpening Image? Okay, and the directions for this are given there, and if you, for some reason, didn't get the PDF, you're all going to get it, just to be sure. The technique he uses is very quick, so it's not a complicated thing. What he says is, when you see images where they are over-sharpened, you see little halos along the edges where there's a bright edge meeting a dark edge, you end up with this artificial looking halos because they're over sharpened. What we're going to do is very heavily sharpen this image on a separate layer, and then we're going to mask out all the halos. So you'll get the sharpness without the ugly halos. So all you need to do is make a copy of the background, which can be Command or Control J, or go up to Layer, Duplicate Layer. Okay? And just say, okay, you've got a copy of the background. We're going to sharpen this background heavily, and then we're going to apply a mask based on Tony Kuyper's selections, and they will hide all the halos. So you can, at home, you can use any method of sharpening you like to this image. Together, we're going to do a simple one. We're going to go to Unsharp Mask. If you're in full Photoshop, it's in the Filter Sharpen group. And Elements people, go to Enhance. And come down to Unsharp Mask. And when we open that, we're going to just sharpen the death out of this thing because it won't look like that later. I want you to bring the radius up to like 3 and the amount up to 170 or 80. And look how ugly that looks. Nobody would ever choose that. What is ugly is the white edges where the dark meets the white are over accentuated. And so if you put your mouse here on this little square, hold the button down, it tells you what it looked like before and what it looks like after. And believe you or me, when you do this, you will start using very high amounts. So the first thing you do is apply that horrible sharpening to that layer. Looks gross. Now, we're going to reveal only the darker part of the image. We're going to let those white, ugly parts disappear. And the way we do it is to go to the Action panel. And I'm assuming by now everybody has Tony Kuyper's free actions. And if you came here without them, you just have to ask me and I'll tell you how to get them. And we're going to use the bunch he calls TK Selections. And we're going to choose Darks 1. That's the least selective of all the possibilities. What this will do is reveal the darks and hide the light, bright edges. So if you take Darks 1 and click it and then play the action with that triangle, how you play actions, you'll see it all over the image. And then we are going to hide, well, we don't hide them yet. Go to the Layers panel. Mine disappeared too. I want to apply this selection to a mask. So, you know, just from doing it earlier, remember with the moving to a new background? If there is a selection active and you add a layer mask, it picks up the selection. So click Add a Layer Mask, and look what it does. It hides those horrible extra glowy white edges and leaves you with a sharpened image. To see what it did, hide the sharp layer and look at the picture and bring the sharp layer back. Isn't that amazing? That's one of the, some of the things he does take a lot of work. This is simple, utterly simple. And I'm going to suggest that you delete this whole layer we just did. Go up to Layer, delete Layer, and say yes. We're going to repeat it. make a copy of the background. Layer, duplicate copy, or Command or Control J. Once you get the new layer, and this is anytime you sharpen, you should always be sharpening a copy of the original background. You don't want to apply sharpening directly to the original. So go up, Enhance, for me, Unsharp, Filter, Sharpen, Unsharp Mask for full Photoshop. Even make it worse. Bring the radius up to 4. Just make it intense. And when you get really messy and awful, say OK. And now go to the Action panel and choose Darks 1. And you can try Darks 2, 3. You will get rid of more of the ugliness by using the lower number. Darks 1, hit the play button till the ants are all over the picture. Go back to the Layers panel, and now with that selection active, create a new mask. Add Layer Mask. And then test, that whole layer is the sharpening layer. Hide it from the eyeball and bring it back. Isn't that impressive? And you will find, you may experiment with an image, because each image may be a little different in how much you want to over sharpen before you apply the mask. And it's up to you. Now, if I did that and it was over sharpened to my taste, how would I change it easily? Opacity. This says how strong a change is going to take place here. If I lower the opacity, I can reduce the sharpness. So in this process, it doesn't hurt to overdo it. If you overdid it a lot, you can pull it back from the opacity. But it gets rid of all that ugly. This is why last time we talked about getting rid of halos on HDR. If you do an HDR and you've kind of, you get halos around it, if you apply a mask in the dark layer, it will knock out the halos without affecting the rest of the image. So the technique is worth playing with, so that when the opportunity comes, when this would be a good idea, it will be in your bank of knowledge. The whole point of learning techniques is not to use them every day, but to use them when you need them. All right. Let me close that. Let me look and see if we had overlooked